and sometimes it's hard to dive into a full class from start to finish. So, essentially, we're now giving you a shortened highlight version of our top Creative Live classes. You can always dive into the full class with 5, 10, or 15 hours of great content, but now if you're just looking to focus on a few of the highlights or want to be able to skip quickly to something that really interests you, you can now get a shortened, fast class version of that class. We're also thinking this might be able to help you explore a new craft and save time while doing it. This is a great tool to curate your learning experience to help create the life that you seek. So you're probably thinking, great, how do I access this new experience on Creative Live? That's easy. All you have to do is be a subscriber to the Creator Pass, and then all this is yours. If you're feeling isolated and looking for creative connection, try tuning into creativelive.com/TV. That's where we've got a 24/7 live stream from the kitchen counters.
I can do that backlit shot that I really like to do.
From the studios and living rooms of many of the world's top creators, where we're doing musical performances, Q&As, cooking shows, virtual book tour events, drawing, spoken word poetry, and more.
Life passed me by waiting for an invitation when the world is greater than my nation or my occupation. Be someone you've never been. You feel all that adrenaline? It's medicine.
It actually helps me feel like my days are more purposeful.
I hope that out of this deep pain will come some collective growth.
Dive into Creative Live TV today.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be in the world right now. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Elle Luna, and I'm an artist, a designer, an author, and today I am going to be offering a practice that I have just started doing at the beginning of the year on January 1st, and it is a mandala drawing practice. The mandala is an amazing and ancient technology. It is as simple and as complex as you need and want it to be. And in these rapidly changing and uncertain times, it is really, really a treat for me to get to join with all of you wherever you happen to be and to draw together for about a half hour. So if you would like to join this practice with me, you're going to need a few tools. Why don't I start with that? You're going to need some paper. It could be a journal, it could be loose paper, but your mandala is probably going to be about, 3, 4, 5 inches in size. And you're also going to need some mark making tools. I have got some markers here on the table. I have a big jug of all my favorite colors. I recommend not using paint or anything that needs to dry or needs time. Crayons, colored pencils, even just a pen, a ballpoint pen would be great. And you might want a ballpoint pen to draw the outline of your circle on the page. But I'm joining you all from Northern California. It's a beautiful day today, and we have gorgeous weather, and there's also a lot of internal weather moving through us every single day. And if this is a practice that speaks to you today, I would really encourage you to try to do this practice with a bit of consistency. If not every day, at least every few days, as a way to check in with yourself and see what's going on. We actually do this practice every single morning at 8 a.m. on my Instagram live account. It's just my username, which is at Elle Luna. And I started doing it live with a group of people as a response to what was happening with the COVID-19 crisis. And the community is so wonderful and similar to what a mandala is, which mandala is the Sanskrit for the word circle. We consider ourselves a circle that gathers together every morning. And so I want to invoke the spirit of the circle with each of you today. And even though we're on our computers and we're scattered around the world, I love this idea that we're all connected through this image of the circle, and the circle is sacred. And there's no top to the circle or bottom of the circle. It's we're all here together. It's like we're sitting shoulder to shoulder together in this space. So thank you for being here in the sacred circle this morning. I want to show you a few really cool things about mandalas. Like I mentioned, mandala is the Sanskrit word for circle. And this here is a gift that was given to me by one of my very best friends. For those of you who know the Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh, this is one of his mandalas. He uses, I believe it's sumi ink and a brush, and works on this beautiful rice paper. And this is one complete breath. With his brush at the bottom of the circle, he breathes in. At the top of the circle, he exhales. And so each mandala represents one complete breath, the in and the out. And maybe we can do that together. We can start by taking a few really mindful breaths. As you draw your circle on the page in just a moment, don't do it yet. We're going to practice that. We're going to get we're going to do a nice inhale and exhale together, but not quite yet. I have a few other things I want to show you first. I would like to show you a book, a very special book that was also gifted to me by a very close person in my life. It is a huge book. You could do a nice quarantine workout with it, get your biceps going. This is called The Red Book, and it is an extraordinary book of mandalas by the Swiss psychologist Carl Jung. And we really owe the reintroduction of the mandala to Carl Jung. He reintroduced this practice, and he really reintroduced it into Western thought. And Carl Jung thought of the mandala as a spontaneous drawing that would map and reflect his inner state at the time. And it's a very big book, so I'm just going to show you a few of his mandalas. Of course, sometimes they stay inside the screen, inside of the circle, and other times they go outside. Oh, you can kind of see here, can't you? Yeah. Great. So I don't have to do a bicep workout quite yet. But every day he would draw these mandalas, and he had a little notebook, And he would use it as a way to map his inner states. And on the back of the book, there's this really beautiful quote about how he used this as a meditation. I'm just going to read it off the back. This is Carl Jung. He says, "The years of which I have spoken to you, when I pursued the inner images, were the most important time of my life. Everything else is to be derived from this." When I think about the inner images and I think about the power of drawing mandalas and the unique moment in time that we're in right now, we all have so many things that are coming to us right now: images, feelings, experiences, hopes, fears, new emotions, things that we haven't really wrestled with or thought about in a long time. And our reconnection to these inner images is an opportunity that we get to have as we draw together. So, your mandala, your drawing that you're about to do with me, I'm going to draw with you as well. This is a sacred practice, and this is just for you. Sometimes I draw live in the morning with a camera on the mandala, and sometimes I don't. And I want to encourage you to think about your mandala as something that's sacred for you and for your practice. You don't need to understand your mandala. You don't need to have even words. Your mandala might just be scribbles or colors. You might just crumple the page up and throw it across the room. That might be what needs to be expressed today. And everything is welcome. Everything is allowed. The one thing we don't want to do is repress anything in this time. As things arise, we want to feel them. We want to have practices to purify and enter into them. And we want to be able to move through the weather by going into it. As John Muir once said, many of nature's finest lessons are to be found in her storms. So the mandala is a sacred way for you to go into your own storms, into your own weather. And it's a way to map and to focus what's happening, hopefully with the aim of creating some stability and some integration and reordering, making sense of what's going on. So for today, as we begin to dive into our practice, one of the first things that I'd like to do is I'd like to ground us. So these spontaneous drawings really do come from a quiet place, a grounded place. And so what I'd love for you to do is find a seated position, or if you're laying down, that's fine also, but just find a really comfortable, relaxing position. If you're on a couch, maybe sink back into your chair. And let's all close our eyes. And let's take a moment to arrive. Sometimes it can take us minutes, hours, days just to arrive. Once you find your seated position, I want you to bring your awareness to your sit bones. Really feel your bottom connecting to the chair, the couch, wherever you happen to be. And if your legs are crossed, maybe uncross them and place both of your feet on the ground. If you have a back to your chair, really feel your back pressing into the back of the chair. And we are going to take some of those mindful breaths together that I spoke about earlier. We're going to breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. And I'm letting out a little bit of a sound. I would encourage you, if that feels good, to just sound. Let Give your body space to just collapse each time you exhale. If your inhales are about 3 counts, try to make your exhales maybe 1 to 3 counts longer. So I'm going to inhale for 3, exhale for 5. And every time I do, I'm going to send that energy down my spine, down through my pelvic bowl, down my legs, calves, feet, and send it really deeply into the ground, about 20 feet below the earth, really in there with the mud and the dirt and all of the life that is constantly changing us and holding us as we sit here and breathe, as we share the same air, as we breathe the same breaths that have been breathed for thousands of years. In the midst of all of this uncertainty and great change and loss and endings and beginnings, we are totally connected to each other, to the earth, to the air. I'm feeling and sensing each of you breathing. I'm feeling our circle. Totally complete. Let's breathe just a few more breaths. And as you do, before you open your eyes, I'm going to recite a poem. This poem is an anchor for our practice. It's an anchor for these times. It's a poem by Rainer Maria Rilke, and it's called Lean Into Your Longing. And as I read it, just keep sending that breath down, down, down. God speaks to each of us as God makes us, then walks with us silently out of the night. These are the words we dimly hear. You, sent out beyond your recall. Go to the limits of your longing. Embody me. Flare up like flame and make big shadows I can move in. Let everything happen to you. Beauty and terror. Just keep going. No feeling is final. Don't let yourself lose me. Nearby, there is a country they call life. You will know it by its intensity. Give me your hand. Before you open your eyes, feel the softness under your feet. Feel the pads of your feet. Maybe you even want to wrap your arms around your body and give yourself a really big hug. Really big. I mean, really big. We all need hugs right now. Give yourself a really big hug and imagine that all of us are together in this circle and we are all hugging you. We are all holding each other and it is delicious. And let us slowly open our eyes and come back to wherever you happen to be. And we're going to pick up a mark making tool and we're going to begin to draw together. Thank you for grounding and breathing with me. Let's take some of that softness, some of that energy going down, down, down into the earth. And let's bring it onto the page, huh? So let's see here. To begin drawing our mandala, we need to create a circle on the page. And I like to draw one about 3 or 4 inches wide because we're just going to be drawing for maybe 8 minutes together. So I don't want it to be too big. But let's take that energy from our grounding practice and let's do a nice inhale and exhale as we complete our circle on the page. Inhale and exhale. And if your circle is anything like mine, it's nice and wobbly. Perfect circles are overrated. All right, so now what we're going to do is you're going to use any images, any colors, anything that came to you during our grounding meditation, and you're going to begin to draw. I am going to try to be a little quiet while we draw together, but I'm going to be watching the clock, and I'm going to let you draw, let's say for 6 minutes. How about that? So before you begin going into your circle, just know that this time is for you and this is a meditation, and anything that wants to come forward, let it be here, like the beautiful, beautiful lines of Rilke. Let everything happen to you, beauty and terror. Just keep going. No feeling is final. Let everything happen to you, beauty and terror. Let's begin drawing. Continue to send your energy down into the earth. Continue to feel that grounded connection. And as you draw, you might hear other noises in your environment. And just continue to let your senses stay open. Maybe it's a passing car or some birds. We want to continue to breathe mindfully as we draw. And if your body says, I really want that turquoise color, you go for that turquoise color. There's no right way, no wrong way. It's just for you. You don't have to understand it or explain it. It's a gift you're giving yourself. You can stay inside the lines of your circle. You can go outside the lines of your circle. Keep breathing. Maybe even see if you can relax a little bit more as you're drawing. Sending your energy down into your feet. Seeing what images want to come up from the earth. What wants to come through today? It's a practice of allowing, allowing. If you find that your mind wants to draw the painting, just bring yourself back into your belly and your feet, back into your body. Tell your mind that you're doing something else today. You'll come back for it later. We're going to draw for about 1 more minute, which is never enough time, I know. Don't forget to breathe. Before we wrap our drawing up for today, you might just take a moment and look at your mandala and see if any words, if any theme has come through on the page. And if there's a particular word, you might write it down. Maybe you just want to write the day. You might want to write today's Friday. I don't know the day, but I'll write it later. And before we come back to our group, I just would like for you to take a moment with your drawing and maybe just check in with yourself and thank yourself for showing up today. Express some gratitude that you came and that you drew, and any parts of you that might have thoughts or feelings about your mandala. Just tell them that I hear you, and I'm going to let you go for today, because this is not about art making. This is not about creating a masterpiece. This is about really authentically expressing the universe, which is your universe today, right now, right here in this moment. And over time, you're going to, if you decide to keep this up as a practice, you're going to begin to notice different themes in your mandala. This is a moleskin, like a page a day journal. And I draw a mandala in it every day, and I'm able to see how the weather shifts. I'm able to see how my internal weather changes. I'm able to see different parts of me coming online on different days. And the only other thing that I can relate to this practice is the tradition, the Buddhist tradition of Buddhist monks doing Tibetan sand paintings. And if you've ever seen these monks come together with sand and draw these intricate, beautiful circular designs, they are similarly creating their universe in this beautiful form on usually a large table with sand. And they're placing each tiny grain of sand, and it's a meditative practice. If even one of them were to sneeze, the whole mandala would just would shift and would move. And I think this is one of the things in Buddhism that they really got right, which is that, like our mandalas, everything is changing. Everything is impermanent. All of life is impermanent. The great paradox is that the only thing we can really count on is impermanence, is change itself. And at the end of these exquisitely made mandalas that the monks craft together, usually many of them working on a mandala at one time, at the end of one of these sand painting sessions, they will offer their mandala up. And I really love the idea that a mandala can be an offering. While it's a practice that we get to do with ourselves, it's also a practice that you get to offer. Maybe today you want to offer your practice up to a friend. We're doing a lot of breathing, and we know that there are people right now who are struggling with breath. Maybe you want to offer your drawing to someone who's struggling with breath, or to the healthcare workers, or to a teacher, a family member, someone who's just really there for you right now. Maybe to God, to all of life, the great creator, whatever that is for you. This is such a beautiful gift, not only for you, but also to be offered up as the Tibetan Buddhists do with their own sand paintings. And so before we close out today, I would love for you to just check in with your drawing. I'd love to, I wish that I could hear each of you share your reflection on maybe a word that came through. Like sometimes I hear people at the end of a session say that the word might be, clarity or breathing or present. There's also a lot of statements of willingness, like I am willing to be with the fire. I am willing to be with the uncertainty. I am willing to say yes to this mad play that we are all in, and I will show up with dignity and with character. Yes, pain is a part of there being a world at all. And I am going to say yes to the whole thing. That's so often what I hear from people. And I encourage you to continue to knock on the door of yourself with these drawings, to continue to go inward and just take time to be with yourself, be with what's going on for you. If you want to join our daily circle, we meet every morning at 8 a.m. Pacific on my Instagram, which is at Elle Luna. You can find me there. And if you would like to share your mandala with me from your session, I would love to see it. Just tag me in it on your story or on your feed, and I will find you. It means so much to me that you are prioritizing your self-care, that you are prioritizing a practice of allowing and being with everything, being with all of it. Let everything happen to you, beauty and terror. Just keep going. No feeling is final. With that, I will conclude today's drawing session. I hope that you will all be well. Please take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and in this time of great uncertainty and change, may everything that we're experiencing and moving through continue to bring us to greater places of compassion, kindness, extending more of ourselves, and knowing that no matter how intense the waves, no matter how intense the time, we get to do it together. And getting to be here with each of you today is a real gift and a real treat for me. So thank you.